Good morning, folks. Kevin here, bringing you a Labor Day weekend update. I've got a few more videos that I'm lining up for you, but I had some breaking news, some urgent updates that I needed to bring to your attention that I noticed. PFS on YT, previously preparing for survival, aka my wife, posted a video this morning. Actually, she posted a live, she went live this morning if anybody caught the live stream. But ironically, immediately after the live stream, it was missing. And check out her channel. I'm not going to talk about in great detail what she was sharing on that live stream, but she's got a video uploaded now related to it. And the reason why she has that video up is because we were having difficulty uploading that video. And so I said, hey, she said, this is very important. I want to make sure that everybody's aware. I want to make sure that people know what's going on and they can prepare and avoid this area and avoid any possible negative outcome from what's going on. And I said, well, if the upload's not working, go ahead and go live and get the information out, get the news out. And I know your audience is going to appreciate you for that. So, giant heart, huge heart, always thinking about everybody else before herself. So she went live, even though she was like, I'm not made up. I'm not ready for live. She did it anyway. But ironically, after the live was done, it was gone. It was just nowhere. And we actually got family in town visiting us for our daughter's birthday. And they said, we were watching your live stream. We just saw you went live. She's like, yeah. And then it was over with. And then it said it was gone. Like, it just disappeared. Strange, very odd, very strange. Now, if you guys are aware of what's going on with the Walmart out in Tupelo, Mississippi, she was speaking on that. Additionally, it seems like the situation has moved over to a Toyota plant nearby. And ultimately, there's a situation going on out there that folks need to be aware of and be cognizant of. And, I think this is just a thought, no factual information behind it. It's just an opinion. But I think that today we have more and more opportunities and possibilities of folks kind of like going off the deep end with the struggles in the economy, with the struggles of inflation, with the struggles in the job market, which ironically I'm working on putting together. Like, I stopped what I was doing, putting together one of my future videos for you guys to bring you some information about the housing market and the effects that we're seeing the lumber market have on the housing market, and some correlations there with the price of lumber, price per board foot, where it was before, where it is today, the futures of these prices and where they're going, and trying to do a little bit of a foreshadowing and pontificate on where the housing market could potentially be going based on what we're seeing from lumber. But as I'm putting this together, I'm doing my research. I'm reading that Goldman Sachs is talking about how, even if we were to see a recession, we have a strong job market, and, balance sheets at home are pretty stable. Now, it kind of depends on the home, but I don't know. Based on a lot of the reports that I'm reading, stories that I'm covering, information that I'm getting from firsthand experience, from emails that you guys are sending, from boots on the ground intel from the folks out there on the front lines, the job market sucks. People are being laid off left and right. Bed Bath & Beyond is closing 150 stores. We have hiring freezes even in the tech sector. And, most people are being really hurt by inflation. So I don't see how balance sheets can be in great financial positions and strong when these are things that are going on. So I'm really kind of curious of where they're getting their data from. But with that being said, I do believe that, some of these things are really taking a toll on a lot of folks. And if you guys remember, I posted a video not too long ago. Actually, we were driving through Colorado during our summer road trip. We full-time van life. And we were driving through Colorado. Heading into Wyoming. And I stopped to, record a video to share with you guys a story about mental health and how folks, especially folks perhaps at the top, have the furthest to fall. In comparison to the working class poor, the middle class barely getting by, making ends meet, living paycheck to paycheck. The folks that are one paycheck away from being homeless, struggling to buy food, struggling to buy gas. I saw a woman the other day. She was bound and determined to do what she had to do, but she was dressed up in business attire, but she was riding a bicycle because she had to get to work. And, times are tough. It was 94 degrees outside. She was sweating. You could see it through the back of her clothing. But at the end of the day, to me, it looked like somebody was like, look, I got to get to work. I got to make this money. I got to feed my family. Where this was at a bank. It was at a Bank of America. And then as we go inside the Bank of America associate that was helping us, not the teller, this was one of the Bank of America employees that has a desk. So I would assume that if you have a desk, you're a higher earner. He says, I'm looking for a second job because times are tough and inflation is killing me, and, money is tight. So what I'm saying is, you take all these things, you put them together. Now, granted, these are small samples of what's the big picture, what's really going on. And perhaps Goldman Sachs isn't, getting data from these folks. But at the end of the day, I think that whether you're at the bottom and the fall, if you had a fall, it wouldn't be any much further from where you've been for so long, which if that's the case and you want to improve that situation, by all means, please contact me. I love trying to help people, trying to help folks improve their financial situations, provide any sort of motivation that they need, whether it be information, data, links, some things that I've learned along the way, or just, someone to talk to. But regardless, whether you're down, at the near the bottom, or you're further at the top. And like I said, if you're further at the top and you used to make $200,000-$300,000 a year, and then you go down to zero, and then you start bleeding through cash, if you even had it in savings, exhausting your credit cards and your credit limits and any lines of credit that you may have had available to you. Perhaps not necessarily for a safety net, because you really shouldn't use a credit card for a safety net. But once you blow through all that, then you're looking at, a grim, bleak outlook, a drastic reversal and change from the lifestyle that you used to know. Perhaps, some feelings and some sentiments and some ideas that may not necessarily be true about how friends and family are going to look at you differently from where you were to where you are. And that can have a negative psychological effect and impact, especially on people's mental health, which could potentially drive them to situations like we're seeing now, making threats. And, there's really no way to beat around the bush on that. They're making threats. And, whether it is intentional, whether it's on purpose, whether it's driven by outside force, or it's a simple fact that, hey, I'm scared. I don't know what to do. I need help. This is a cry for help. Somebody please help me. Who knows? But I think that there's a likelihood and a possibility that we could see more and more of this happening and occurring more in the future. And, you think about a weekend like this weekend, Labor Day weekend. I'm going to tell you right now, we walked through Publix last night, and that place is expensive. Now, granted, Publix is always expensive, and I don't know if they did this intentionally for the holiday weekend to kind of like capitalize on the extra traffic of folks coming in. This is a high tourist area. So they're coming in, they're going to gouge folks coming in to buy food and groceries and things like that to fill the pantries on the short-term rental properties that they've rented through Airbnb, VRBO, Vacasa, whatever website they chose to use to rent a home for their family for the vacation that they took for this Labor Day weekend. The prices are high. Granted, it was Publix, but the prices were really high considering for Publix. I mean, honestly, I want to say nothing in there was under $6. And you're like, well, what does that really mean? Like, I'm talking about, like, we went to go buy a body wash because Michelle didn't have a body wash. And long story short, we're at a house because the apartment would have been a little bit too tight for everybody. So we just grabbed a house for the weekend so that we'd have more space and everybody would be more comfortable for this birthday party. But she didn't have a body wash. She's like, I'll just grab one at Publix. The cheapest body wash was like $6.54 for a regular sized bottle of Old Spice or Suave or whatever body wash she was going to use. I don't know, Dove, Olay, one or the other. But then, we walked down and I went to go get some waffles. My brother, he's here with me. And, like I said, the whole family's here. And he really likes the Kodiak protein waffles. So I went to go pick up a box of those. It was like $7 for like 4 waffles or 6 waffles, whatever's in there. It's something ridiculous. And everything is just crazy expensive. Ice cream's expensive. Bag of ice is expensive. And you take all that, like I said, I don't know if this is normal because I don't really do the grocery shopping, but That shocked me when I saw those prices. I was like, man, this is not a value. This sucks. And maybe it's a possibility that they're going to see some shortages of these inventory levels, and they're raising the prices now to compensate for the loss of revenue that they're going to see because they're not going to have enough to sell in the future. Maybe. But at the end of the day, the prices were increased. If it's that, if it's because of the higher amount of tourist traffic that they're expecting for this weekend, I don't know. But if you think about it and you take a situation like a weak job market, which is, I'm going to say, is weak. I think there's a lot of folks out there that are in trouble with their jobs, their careers, regardless of whether you are low income earner or high income earner. Now, I did have somebody actually comment on a video yesterday and say that if you are a licensed professional, then you are in a much better position as far as they were saying in their industry, because there were very few licensed professionals and they were actually in need of more. But for the most part, most folks out there who are pretty much expendable, this is not a strong job market, in my opinion. And you mix that with the possible decline in several different housing markets, the possible decline in the stock market, the decline in the economy in general, and the mental health, the negative results that can occur to one's mental health as a result of losing a job, running out of money, being beat up by inflation, being beat up by high rent prices, being beat up by just not being able to afford life in general. You're going to see more situations like this where people are potentially just crying for help. I'm not saying that that's exactly what's happening here, but, regardless, it is occurring. Please be aware. Please be careful if you're out in the Tupelo, Mississippi area. But at the same time, you gotta, I think, really narrow your focus and figure out where do you want to be, and where do you want to go, and how do you want to get there, and how do I best align with folks to make that happen. And I'm not saying that just from the standpoint of making more money, which if you do, more power to you. If you're interested in learning how to grow a YouTube channel, I got links in the description. It's a great opportunity to make money. But I'm also talking about the people that are sharing the information with you, because I'm sharing this with you personally, my opinion. I care. I give a shit. I want you guys to know. But from what I saw that happened to PFS on YT this morning after she tried to share it live and it was mysteriously deleted, I'm a little concerned about, what we are being force-fed and being allowed to know in comparison to what's actually happening. And then couple that with the data and the figures and the statistics that I'm reading from Goldman Sachs and their reports that everything's fine. Even in a recession, everything's fine. Families' balance sheets are fine. People's income is fine. We have nothing to worry about. I'm not saying we have something to worry about, but I am saying that there's a lot of things going on out there, and the information being delivered may not necessarily be 100% true and accurate to what's really going on. That's going to allow you the ability to prepare yourself to be best prepared for what could actually be coming. So just putting it out there, just wanted to share that. Like I said, if you guys are interested in learning more, knowing more about how to improve your finances and build a YouTube channel, the group's growing. I'm very excited. I'm very happy to have these conversations and communicate through the comments in these videos and create more videos based on what you guys are asking for to help you improve your channels, grow your channels, reach monetization level, apply for monetization, work to be accepted in the YouTube Partner Program, begin to generate revenue through AdSense, Google AdSense, and ultimately grow your small business so that you don't find yourself in a situation where you're behind the 8 ball and, the job market does suck and you find yourself in a situation where you do become unemployed through no fault of your own. And now you're out there crying for help. And, then it's a little too late, because it's going to take a little while to get that ball rolling. But, I even had somebody mention the other day that they're part of the group, and they said that they were tired. They were so tired of trying to ship and sell products, and they weren't getting anywhere. And I told them, I said, today it's a digital age. And although people may not necessarily like it, if you want to succeed in business, you got to accept it. And this is a great opportunity for them, which they joined the group, and they realize that it's a great opportunity for them to take what they know, put it into a digital package, and then sell that without even having to worry about a physical product or the shipping of that. And, by doing that today and getting that ball rolling now, I can tell you right now, probably within like the next 30 to 60 days, it's going to be where it needs to be to put them in a position to capitalize. And if shit were to really hit the fan and we were to see like a total collapse, as should be expected, and we were to see a total collapse, then you got to realize that the supply chain is going to be crushed. So you trying to package and ship a physical good is pretty much worthless. And, we are already experiencing the possibilities of the supply chain crunch and crisis unraveling. If you haven't watched my last video on the railroad worker union strike and the intel that we got from a rail crew express driver, and what he shared about the BNSF railroad union workers already receiving their strike signs. Now, granted, they have until September 16th before they can legally go on strike, but apparently it's like 9 out of 12 of these unions have decided that they so far have not reached a tentative deal. So there's a good possibility that 75% of the railroad workers unions could potentially go on strike, further impacting the supply chain. And that could greatly impact your ability to earn income in whatever it is you do. But if you're focused on, let's just say, a non-tangible good, a digital product, then you're relatively safer. And at the end of the day, you'll say, well, Kevin, how's that going to help me when there's no supply? Well, it's going to be just like the situation that we're seeing right here now at the Publix that I was telling you about here in Florida, and the fact that the prices are being jacked up sky high. There will be inventory. The inventory will probably be lighter and less than there was before, but the price is going to be so high, they're going to make it very hard for everyone to afford it. So the best thing that you could possibly do is have ways to generate income at a time where your previous method of earning income has been interrupted as a result of a supply chain crunch and a supply chain crisis from a railroad strike and a trucker shortage and everything else that's involved with that, a diesel fuel shortage, and still have the ability to earn income, possibly a higher level of income, to be able to afford these heavily inflated prices on food, water, groceries, necessities, and essentials like that. I'm just telling you how I feel. You guys make your own decisions, make your own choices, as always. But, I felt compelled to really bring you guys this information this morning after I saw what happened to PFS on YT's video being theoretically taken down immediately after the live stream was done. Kind of put me in this mood where it's like, I don't like the direction this is going, and how I feel as though people are trying to be steered into one direction or the other on what to think. And that is honestly probably one of the biggest problems I have with in general with a lot of things these days is in our younger generation. I hate it, but ultimately they're being groomed and prepped and taught and trained on what to think and not how to think. And that's a big problem, and we need to fix that.